Hello, everyone. Well, it's that time of year again. That time of year has arrived. It is time. Time for uh time time for purification. And what is it about purification that we honor purification every single year? Well, I'll tell you more about that a little bit later, about purification. But right now, I would like to get right to the subjects. First of all, I want to say um, we're very sorry to Nancy Guthrie's family, and we're all praying for Nancy Guthrie and for her safe return. But we don't know if she's probably not alive, but there people still have hope that she's alive. So we're praying for her. We're praying for the family, and we're praying for Nancy Guthrie. On to other things. It was just announced today that uh, Reverend Jesse Jackson died, and he was a great civil rights leader, even though he did say some awful things. He had a problem with his mouth, the things that he said, like what he said about New York City. Uh, I don't have to repeat that. I think you guys know what he said. So, um, in addition to these things that have been happening, also President Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, um, he he reposted I don't know if it was a photo or a video, I'm not sure which, was a photo or a video of Obama and his wife as apes. And this is very racist and evil, and um, for shame, Trump, for shame. Shouldn't have done that. I am glad that ICE is pulling out of Minneapolis. I'm pleased about that, but I'm not so pleased by the actions that Trump has taken, like the the photo or video of the Obamas as apes, and also the the terrible things that Epstein has done, and that our 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 nation has covered up. This is terrible. Okay, you've heard about the Epstein Files. They released 3 million files just recently. Okay, and there's 3 million more that they didn't release. So there were 6 million files. They released 3 million, and there were heavy redactions to the 3 million that they released, supposedly to protect the innocent victims. Okay, and then they had 3 million files that they never released for whatever reason. And people are angry. They want them to release all of the Epstein files. And who can blame them? Who wouldn't want them to release all the Epstein files? And uh, Trump's Trump's administration is hedging. They always redirect whoever asks them any questions. Whoever asks them any questions, they always redirect it into another direction and try to evade. Like they say, "Oh, well, you would have asked that months ago of somebody else." Something crazy like that. That they keep saying these redirect. They have as many redirections as there are redirections. All the redirections they can think of, they're using to evade and avoid any consequences for themselves or for Trump, and to evade and avoid answering any questions. So this is really sad, it's sad news. And what do you guys think of this? Leave comments in the section below, um, in the comment section. I'm thinking, when I hear when I hear that there's 6 million files total and that they haven't released half of them. Um, it makes me wonder how or why did they know about this for so many years and it took them so much time to go after Epstein. Have you guys wondered this too? Why did it take them all of these years to go after Epstein, and why did they not go after the rich and powerful people? Why did the FBI not go after the rich and powerful people who were associated with Epstein? They did nothing to them. They didn't do a thing, not even to Prince Andrew. They did not a thing to get justice. They denied all justice for these victims, for the victims of Epstein. They denied them all justice. All of those years, it was over 30 to 40 years of Epstein and his island, and all that time the FBI was just watching. The FBI was just watching and recording these 6 million files, and they did nothing. They did nothing about it. They took no action. And Epstein is a sex offender. He did horrible things to these girls. And he's a sexual predator. And all these kids were abused and went without justice all of those years. And they had 6 million files confirming what they already knew about him. They had 6 million files, and they did nothing. They did nothing to help these victims. They did nothing to close down Jeffrey Epstein's island. They did nothing. They could have sent in Delta Force like they did for the president of Venezuela. They could have sent in a Delta Force to Jeffrey Epstein's island. They could have had guys jumping down on ropes, rounding up all the bad guys and taking them to prison. And try them in the United States of America. They did nothing. They didn't do anything to help. Why? Why did they do nothing to help? What's going on? Why did they not help? It's because the rich and powerful were involved, and there's more to it than that. They also were pro child abuse. Yes, they were pro child abuse. Child abuse was a joke to them, just like it is on Family Guy. In Family Guy, child abuse is a running gag. And they thought this was hilarious. They thought that Jeffrey Epstein was the funniest guy they'd ever met in their lives before. It was like Family Guy coming to life and stepping off the screen and coming to life. And they thought he was the funniest, most charming, most witty guy they'd ever seen in their lives before. Why were they charmed by him? Probably because they're child predators too. Do you know, in the early part of the 20th century, our government was taken over by child predators. Let's be honest with you. Child predators, they even kept it a secret from the president, was as early as they had instituted alphabet agencies, that these alphabet agencies were loaded with child sex predators. In fact, they've been abusing kids ever since the founding of this country. And these child sex predators took over our government. They took over our government and they were running the show from behind the scenes. They never told Congress. They never told the president. They've been running our country from behind the scenes. This is why the FBI did nothing. Because the FBI was pro-sex predator. They were on the same side as these sex predator guys. They were rooting for them every single step of the way. What else do we know? We know that after World War II, they brought Nazi scientists to the United States. They brought they brought guys like Mengele to the United States that did experiments on children and also raped children. And they brought them these Nazi scientists to the United States, and then they began applying Nazi techniques of torture to American children. And this is what happened to me. I am sure of it. I'm positive that I was a victim of the United States government. Because the reason why I think so is because the like every single day in my head I hear we are the government moonbeam. We're right across the street from you. Oh my Lord, government. And I hear this every single day in my head, and it's always there, always calling me Moonbeam. It's a code name. Moonbeam is a code name made up to describe the kids that they were doing sexual abuse experiments on. And this is the truth. This is not a lie. This is the truth. This has really been happening inside of our government, mostly within the CIA, but apparently also the FBI is involved because they did nothing to help these Epstein children. You want to know why they've been doing this. It's because they're sex predators and they got into positions of power inside of our government. They use secrecy as a cloak. They were able to put top secret on anything that would incriminate themselves or incriminate the sex predators that they worked with. They put a cloak of secrecy around it. And because our government was so secretive, and because they were able to claim at the time that it was pro-US government secret experiment on children to see if they could use these children any way that they wanted to. They wanted to use US children as spies, and they wanted to use them as bait for rich and powerful people so that they could maybe prosecute them unless they did exactly what the government wanted them to do. They wanted to blackmail them they wanted the elites to have free access to child sex slaves, and they also wanted to maybe create some high level assassins. They wanted child assassins. And so they did this. They abused these kids to see if they could use them and manipulate them and get them to do exactly what they wanted them to do, which was all of these purposes of serving the U.S. government that they had never agreed to because they were helpless children and they couldn't agree and they couldn't give consent. But back then, they didn't care about consent and they didn't care about demanding consent. They never cared about any of that. They just went on raping children knowing that what they were doing was wrong. Okay, it's definitely wrong. And they knew it, but they did it anyway. Probably because they're loco. They're cuckoo. And they have some very strange ideas. So, you know that I was abused by my father and his friend who comes from Washington, D.C. They ganged up on me and they abused me. And they tried to totally warp my mind any way they could think of to warp a person's mind. They tried on me. And it was because they were getting a free pass from the government, a guarantee that they would never be prosecuted for their crimes. And this is why they did it. They had no fear. But finally, Child Protective Services got involved, and my father ran for the hills and took his friend with him. And they both ran for the hills. They skedaddled. But I had to, then some very strange things happened to me while I was growing up, like kids all holding me down on the playground and asking me questions. That was very, very odd. And I don't know why that happened or who was behind it, but the person, the safety on the playground that was a woman, an adult woman, made me go where she couldn't see me anymore. She said, I don't want to see you. Keep going, go behind that building right there. Keep going until I don't see you anymore. And I said, the kids are holding me down and they're asking me questions. And she said, I don't want to see you. Keep going until I don't see you anymore. So I went back behind the building like she told me to, and they held me down again and kept asking me questions. I finally had to transfer out of that school to a Christian school because it was so bad. And then I had to go to a different school after that because these kids were crazy. They were absolutely insane children. They were crazy children, holding me down dragging me to the ground first of all, then pinning me to the ground and asking me questions. And weird questions like, do you like Michael Jackson? What is your favorite pop artist? All these crazy questions that I had no answers for because I was just a kid. And I didn't care. So, what we know now is that the government is complicit. And Trump is complicit because he doesn't want to be found out that he was abusing children. He doesn't want to be associated with Epstein. So he's doing everything he can in his power to cover up his involvement in this. And it's weird that it even came to light, considering how all of this was considered top secret and was given a priority of being top secret by the FBI, and the CIA gave it the green light to be top secret. So that's why they went 30 years without prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein, and why his island was a secret. It was because it was part of the government's very extensive program to abuse children. And now you know. And knowledge is power. Now you can do something about it. But it was a secret back then. And they did keep it a secret, and they did abuse these children. If you think that you might have been abused, then you should definitely come forward and tell the world how you've been abused and what the motive was behind your abuse. Come out there. Come out and tell people. Tell people. Let them know that you were also abused. So that's that. And also I wanted to say that this starting tomorrow is purification. Now, for purification, I want you to give up grains, because grains are so constipating and they stick to the walls of your colon, and they can even cause cancer because of the stuff that sticks to the wall of the colon. It's just like eating a child's paste that comes in a jar. It's like eating paste. So, and you can even use flour as a paste, like for paper mache. You can dip strips of paper in a mixture of flour and water and make a solid mass. So you know that these grains are constipating. So take a break from them. Once a year, take a break from grains, and that includes pseudo grains, because those are also constipating. anything that has the and consistency and properties of a grain is going to constipate you, so you don't want that. So what can you eat? Well, during the day, from sun up to sundown, I want you to eat lots and lots of fruits and vegetables. And some of the things you can do are smoothies. You can do vegetable soups. And you can also do salads, both fruit salads and vegetable salads. I want you to eat your fruits and vegetables all day. And then at night, have a sensible grain-free dinner. You can have meat. You can have anything you want as long as it's grain-free. And no substitutes for grain-free like a loaf of almond bread. That doesn't cut it. You're supposed to be cutting out grains. And even nuts, when they're processed into flour, can be constipating because it's nuts and seeds. They're ground up, become like a paste. So you want to avoid anything that's paste-like. So you can have meat, just don't have any. You can have fruits and vegetables, just don't have any grains. And this lasts for about a month. It's a month long. And when it's over, comes the Festival of the Maiden. And we're all looking forward to the Festival of the Maiden this year. The maiden wants more than anything. The maiden wants more than anything for the children to get justice. The survivors. She wants the child survivors to get justice. And they will get justice. Just because justice has been delayed doesn't mean justice is denied. Always remember that even justice delayed isn't justice denied. So we're all rooting for the maiden, and we're rooting for the survivors, and we're gonna really celebrate the season. We're going to really celebrate Maiden's Day, the Festival of the Maiden this year. It's not a single day, it's the Festival of the Maiden. So that's it. You guys have a terrific week. Start your purification engines and eliminate grains from your diet. Starting tomorrow, and I'll see you next time.